everyone, it's Christy with the Chirp YouTube channel. Today I would like to talk to you about questions and encourage you to ask fewer questions. This is me Xing out all the questions that we want to ask kids who have special needs, whether it's communication delays, autism, sensory stuff, auditory processing difficulties, Down syndrome. I can think of lots of different diagnoses, and in no case is it a great idea to bombard kids with questions. Let's think about this for a moment, shall we? One thing that's tempting when we're working with kids who have developmental delays, especially communication problems, is ask a lot of questions. I see parents doing this a lot when they're trying to kind of show off things that their children know. This isn't actually helpful because a child responding to a question is a very different skill set than a child voluntarily giving you some information or interaction. One is a voluntary action and one is a response. I want fewer responses from kids and more initiation. Initiation is when the kid comes forth with information rather than when someone tries to pull information out of a child. We discovered that in children with autism, the more initiating the child does, initiating of interpersonal interactions, the better that child does long term. We want to work on this at a very, very early age. And the more questions I use to interact with the child, the less the child actually learns to initiate. So, don't ask so many questions. If a child is playing, here's one hint, comment on what's happening. Don't ask questions. If the child's driving a blue truck and crashes, say, "Crash! Oh no!" Be very animated. The child is likely to look at you and then keep that very animated face so that that interaction lasts a little bit longer. You want the kid to be able to look at you a little longer. You want to be able to practice commenting on surprising things that happen. Because when I comment enough times or do something really exciting when there's a crash, what happens is that the kid does a crash and then all of a sudden he says, "Crash!" And then he looks at me and we share a moment. And that is a circle of communication. And we want as many of those circles to go on in a row as possible. I'm going to be gender stereotypical here and say that the child is a girl and she's playing with a blue teacup, and you say, "Blue cup." And then you pick up the pink one and say, "Pink cup." And you pretend to take a sip. You're not asking questions. You're not quizzing the child. Children don't like to be quizzed. They don't like to feel as if they're on probation and they have to answer your questions right, or you're not going to allow them to play with their toys and do what they want. What often happens is that these kids get enrolled in programs that ask them a lot of questions, that force them to come up with the right answer so they can get the reward that they want. I'm not a fan of that. I think that learning works best, especially when our kids' skills are just emerging. It's best to have the activities be meaningful to the child. A quiz is not meaningful to a child. It's not an everyday type of occurrence where the child is going to learn through circumstances and through the natural play of interaction. Quizzing the child is, "What color's this? What color's this? What are you doing? What happened to Thomas? Where is so-and-so?" Those don't feel like interactions, they feel like questions, like you're taking notes on a notepad and you're going to grade the child, and the child is probably going to fail, and the child knows that she's going to fail, and so it amps up the tension and it decreases the interaction ability of the child. Instead, comment on what's happening. Comment, be enthusiastic. Don't comment all the time because you want the child to have an opportunity to comment as well, but start making patterns of interaction. Something exciting happens, you make some sort of response, the child looks at you and you share a moment. You do this 5 times, and the 6th time the child is likely to make a response, and then you can share that interaction together and share the excitement. Instead of asking the kids in your life questions, stop yourself, and comment. Don't ask a question, comment. That's my homework for you this week. Short video, short homework. When you find yourself ready to ask a question of a child in your life, stop and make a comment instead. It's not that hard. It's a good thing to practice. Let's all practice it together this week. Leave me comments down below how this works for you. Where are you tempted to bombard a child with questions? And where did you stop? And take a moment and comment instead. How did it affect your interaction with this child? How did it affect the child's response? Thank you for watching today. Please keep in mind that in order to keep making these videos, I want to be sure that people are watching them. So please subscribe, please click the notification bell, and share my videos with anyone you know in your life who might benefit from hints and from trainings that you have benefited from experiencing. I hope you have a great week. I'll see you soon in my next video. Bye.